Hello everyone, it is me, Two Sheds, and today I'm going to be doing a tier list for all of the Pixar films up to Soul. I hope you enjoy and let me know how you would rate them. So, before I start, I'm going to tell you briefly what each of these tiers means for me. D tier means bad. C tier means not good. B tier means okay. A tier means good. And S tier means amazing. So, let's get going. We're going in original release order, which means we are starting with Toy Story. I'm going to put Toy Story in A tier. I know it broke a lot of new grounds in animation, being the first ever computer animated movie, which is cool, but I don't think it's quite S tier because I think I respect it more than I actually like it, but still all around a good movie. So now we have A Bug's Life. This one's never really connected to me that much. I mean, I don't think it's a bad movie, but not great. So, overall, B tier. Like, it has its merit. It had some thought put into it, but it's just never been a favorite of mine. Now we have Toy Story 2. I personally like Toy Story 2 about the same as the first Toy Story, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less. Like, it didn't really push, it didn't break new grounds like the original did, but I connect to it more story-wise. I'm not really sure which one I like more, but they're good in different ways. So, now we have Monsters, Inc. I think Monsters, Inc. is a really, really cool concept, taking the monsters and sort of humanizing them. I think it's really cool. So, for a cool concept, I had some fun with this movie, so it earns another spot in A tier. Now it's Finding Nemo. This is a very nostalgic movie to me. And to this day, I still really enjoy watching it, so I think it's our first movie today that earns a place in S tier. Really love this one. So now we have The Incredibles. I think this movie it's fun. It's a fun family superhero movie. Is it overrated? Maybe a little, but I have fun with it, so I'd give it a spot in A tier. All right, next up is Cars, the first one. I know some people really don't like this one, but I'm sorry, I grew up with it, so I don't think it's quite S tier, but I still enjoy it today. It goes in A tier. So now we have Ratatouille. It's in a similar situation to A Bug's Life. Like, it never really connected to me that much. I mean, some people are starting to suddenly think this movie is a masterpiece. I really don't see it. I mean, maybe I'll rewatch it in the future, to see if it changes my mind. But right now, I think Ratatouille is a B tier movie. Oh my gosh, guys. Now it's time for WALL-E. It's time for WALL-E. By far my favorite Pixar movie, and it has been since it came out. To this day, I don't think I've ever seen a movie like WALL-E. Just an incredible movie. I love every character. Not often I find a movie that I like every character, but this is definitely one of them. If you haven't seen WALL-E, check it out. Even if you have seen it, check it out again. I think it's worth another watch. So now we have Up. Now, Up is mainly known for the first, like, 10 ish minutes, which are very well done, in my opinion. It's a great opening, but I'm focusing on the entire movie, and that's solid too. So, Up, all around, very good movie, I must say. I mean, it isn't quite Wally or Finding Nemo good, but good. And now it is time for Toy Story 3. I'd say it's my favorite of the Toy Story movies, so it definitely goes. I'm going to put in A tier, nearly S tier. It is a great movie. Could have been the conclusion. We got another one that will rank later on, but for now on, Toy Story 3, great movie. Now we have Cars 2. So here's the thing. When I was younger, I really liked this movie, but as I grow older, I see more and more of its flaws, for sure. Like, I don't think it's quite D tier, but probably low C tier for me. Sorry. I mean, it's pretty much unanimously seen as their worst movie by pretty much everyone I've ever seen. So now we have Brave, another one that didn't really click with me. Like, it's a lot better than Cars 2, but I feel like it was trying to cater too hard to a younger audience, so I just didn't really feel like it was for me. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it, so B tier is a fine spot for it. So, Monsters University is next. This movie is better than it has any right to be, in my opinion. It's it, I thought it was very fun to watch. I don't think I liked it quite as much as Monsters Inc., but it's a fun, dumb movie. If you're in the mood for that sort of thing, then I guess you should check it out. So, Inside Out is up next. Inside Out, I had a blast with this movie. It is a very fun look into the human mind. It's a movie I could come back to all the time for sure. Definitely a big fan of this movie. So now is The Good Dinosaur. I mean, it's nothing groundbreaking, it's nothing great. It's flawed, but not horribly so. Like, just sort of like Brave, I feel like it was trying to cater to a younger audience, you know. So it's not really the kind of movie I could come back to all the time, but at the same time, it has its good moments, so I can't completely disregard it. Right now, Finding Dory, sort of like Monsters University, like, it's better than it should be in my eyes. Like, we did not need a sequel to Finding Nemo, but we got Finding Dory anyway. Had a reasonable amount of fun with it. You know, nothing amazing like the first one, but still fun movie overall. So now is Cars 3. I feel like this is going to be my most unpopular opinion in this video, but I truly think Cars 3 is S tier, guys. I mean, like I said, I grew up with these two Cars movies, so when I found out they were making a third one, I saw this one opening weekend. Absolutely loved it. It just wraps up the Cars movies in the best way possible, in my opinion. All right, Coco is next. Another S tier movie in my eyes. It has amazing animation and a very compelling story. Probably has the biggest plot twist of all of these movies. Not gonna spoil it if you haven't seen it. Speaking of which, if you hadn't, you probably should, along with any movies I put here if you haven't. Definitely check it out. Fantastic movie all around. So now we have Incredibles 2. Now, this is an unpopular opinion, not as unpopular as putting Cars 3 in S tier, but I liked Incredibles 2 more than the first Incredibles. Not quite enough to put in S tier, but I I honestly think it had more of a reason to exist than Monsters University and Finding Dory. Plus, it's also a good movie like them, so I'd say Incredibles 2, great movie. Right, Toy Story number 4. Amazing in my I think. Not as amazing as Toy Story 3, but I had more fun with it than I expected. Like a lot of these sequels around this era. So, it has amazing animation, maybe the best of all of these movies, even more than these two that came out after it. It's plus that ending is a very powerful scene in my opinion. About the same amount as Toy Story 3 even. So, I'd say it's better than some people give it credit for. Okay, Onward is next. I had a fun time with Onward too, so it is another A tier movie. It has some really cool concepts with its magic spells, which if we get a sequel, I hope to see more of these cool things. So I just had fun with Onward all around. I know a lot of people did. I did too. It's a fun time. Okay, we're up to the final Pixar movie, Soul. Loved it. I It only came out like a week ago, but I already think it's a classic among Pixar movies. We'll see how well, time does it, but it is I think it's incredible. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely check it out. All right, this is my Pixar tier list. In S tier, we have Finding Nemo, Wall-E, Inside Out, Cars 3, Coco, and Soul. In A tier, we have Toy Story, Toy Story 2, Monsters Inc., The Incredibles, Cars, Up, Toy Story 3, Monsters University, Finding Dory, Incredibles 2, Toy Story 4, and Onward. B tier, we have A Bug's Life, Ratatouille, Brave, and The Good Dinosaur. C tier, we have Cars 2, and nothing in the D tier. There's not a Pixar movie I think is truly bad, which is very good. Hopefully we don't get one anytime soon. But until next time, this is Two Sheds signing off.